the basic story of this particular attraction is that we're here to witness the long-awaited trial of the infamous Dolores Umbridge. And as most theme park short stories go, something goes wrong. We start out by witnessing the trial, but then all hell breaks loose as Death Eaters come in and free Dolores Umbridge. We learn that Dolores wants to repair a broken time turner device with the goal of restoring Voldemort's reign, which would then put her back in place of power.
Again, disappointing. We reported all this in March.
We did, yes. We got Harry, Ron, Hermione, as Danny just said, and we have a new character named Higgledy, which is Umbridge's former house elf, to join us in a pursuit to prevent Umbridge's from escaping.
That was also something that was reported there because it was supposed to be a female house elf. So this is, again, unless they gender swapped it, this sounds, again, keeping with what we reported back in March.
And of course, this looks like Universal's take on Disney's Tower of Terror attraction ride system, and probably a more advanced one at that.
Oh, yeah.
We will board, and I quote, magical omnidirectional lifts to watch the trial take place. And of course, these lifts can go up, down, forward, backward, sideways. And just like the Tower of Terror, guests will be seated in elevators in a theater-style setting. So now I sent you guys a text picture, and I'm sure you could see this picture everywhere else. But basically, this elevator-themed seating, or this car, will be on top of a motion base, much like Star Tours and Body Wars. And like the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, it will have a range of motion like Spider-Man. But in addition to that, it'll also have the motion of height, which is different than the Spider-Man scoop vehicle, which of course, scoop vehicle doesn't really move as much off the ground, but it does definitely move a lot, twisting and turning and stuff. But this is going to take that ride system and add the luxury of height. And it looks like it's at least a car length high that according to that image that I sent you guys, it looks like it'll be raised lowered. So adding that additional motion in there should be pretty interesting.
So we need something to protect our back, basically.
Oh, no.
Hopefully, yeah. And hopefully they built that into the seating for the ride. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
We'll see.
It's like a Willy Wonka in the glass elevator kind of thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
big time. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely on a track so you could go through in and out of the scenes for sure. They're supposed to be realistic animatronic figures like Death Eaters, seen in the video.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there's also a rumor, they didn't mention this, but there's rumored to have a Dolores Umbridge animatronic, which is supposed to use projection mapping to put Imelda Staunton's face onto a moving animatronic figure.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah. So not only will the animatronic be doing its animatronic thing, but it'll also have the actress's face on there.
Oh, if they could pull that off, because Disney couldn't even get the cartoon faces projected onto the onto the dwarves, right?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, once you got to a certain angle, it looked really weird.
It did.
Should be interesting
So if they get this
off.
right, I'd be impressed.
Yeah, that's a good effect.
And look, Universal promises that this ride will feature impressive large-scale spaces for us to move through. And I have to guess that this may be much bigger than the spaces encountered in Rise of the Resistance over at Disney.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's that particular attraction. And just like Danny said, there's only 2 attractions, and we reported this back in the beginning of the year. We just have a little bit more details and stuff. But the other attraction in this world will be Le Cirque Arcanu, which we now know how to pronounce, of course, which is going to be their crowd gobbler. Hopefully, it's a theater show. And as we have already established as of late, when Universal releases concept art, it is really what they're going to build, as they gave us proven time and time and again, right? With the stuff that we're seeing on the internet and all that kind of stuff. And this makes me kind of excited for this particular attraction, because this will be the first time which we really get an example of that magic when entering a tent in the world of Harry Potter. And as you know, when you go into a tent, it look, even though the outside facade looks like it's this little tiny itty bitty thing, you walk in, it's a whole another world. And
that's going to be so cool.
I'm looking for that because we haven't seen it yet. And I'm sure they have a way to pull it off pretty easily because it's butted up against one of the buildings, but still at the same time, it's be nice to experience that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
So yeah, this is going to be awesome. As you're walking through the tent, you get sideshow displays and stuff as you're walking up to the main attraction theater show.
Mm-hmm.
Universal says, and I quote, "The story of the show follows Ringmaster Skender, who has stolen, and to Danny's point, Newt Scamander's suitcase to try and bring the failing Le Cirque Arcanu back to its former glory. It's then up to circus employee Gwendolyn to rescue these creatures before they end up in Skender's greedy hands forever." And Universal does confirm that in addition to many of the magical creatures, Newt Scamander himself will appear in the show.
Oh, really?
Yep. And so this is going to be a technically complex show which will seamlessly blend media with live action to make it feel as though you're surrounded by fantastic beasts. And I have to think, we talked about this earlier when they released stuff about How to Train Your Dragon. This will be on the scale of untrainable.
That's what I was thinking when I saw this. Is like, this would be so much more impressive if we didn't just cover it with How to Train Your Dragon.
Right.
Yeah. So now they have 2 of these suckers, it sounds like. Crowd gobblers, if you will, in Epic Universe. So those are the 2 attractions. And we talked about this early in the year, so it's kind of like, okay.
Getting closer.
The only thing that appeals to me of these 2 attractions is experiencing that particular ride system with the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah.
But that's a slightly different. But other than that, you got a show, much like Untrainable, and you're going to have a 1920s wizarding Paris
that most people don't really know anything about, or like there's no iconic like location that I can think of from, like, again, I didn't see the movie. Rachel, you did. Is there an iconic location from Place Cachet that you're like, oh, I can't wait to see how they do that?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, there's some like memorable scenes and things, but nothing like the Ministry of Magic. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you want to see that. That looks so cool. But what I will say is there are small things in the current lands that jump out to me from the movies that I love that I wouldn't have expected. So like, for example, in the train station, there is like a poster advertisement. I want to say it's for like lipstick or something, but it's the same ad that was in the movie, like Harry, and it's just a billboard but to see it in person, and that was like a moment in the movie that was really big. They were right up against that advertisement was really cool for me. I was like, oh, this feels so immersive. Like, I feel like I'm part of it. So I am hoping that they're going to find things like that I'll be like, oh, I remember that from the movie. Like, that's cool. I feel like I'm in it, but I don't know. But I don't feel the same way about the Fantastic Beasts movies as I do about the Harry Potter movies. So I don't even know if they can achieve that, even if they do those things, because I don't have the same attachment.
What if they were able to get Johnny Depp?
Oh gosh, yeah.
As what's his name again, Rachel? What's the character's name?
Dumbledore's lover?
Grindelwald.
Grindelwald. Like, wouldn't that be amazing if Johnny Depp started like just showing up in the attraction dressed
like Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, like Pirates of the Caribbean, and starts interacting with the crowd. What a finger to the Disney Corporation.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, as it is, like, that's one of the things that I saw that this land is going to have. Like, they had Streetmosphere performers.
Yes.
Playing wizards and students. And again, that just feels like one giant finger to Disney for what they failed to do with Galaxy's Edge. So I think that's amazing that they're going to do it.
Yep. To Danny's point, just to cover this, they did confirm, and I quote, that guests will encounter other visitors, officials, residents from the Wizarding world, including exchange students from Hogwarts and the Ilvermorny schools of witchcraft and wizardry. An auror from the Ministry of the Affaires Magnifiques de la France, who roams the inquiring of suspicious characters. So you have an auror maybe accusing you of being some kind of dark wizard or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there will also be talking portraits that you can engage with that will allow you to receive real personalized replies.
So like Turtle Talk with Crush?
I guess so, yeah. But you have your name and stuff and everything. They'll dress you directly.
That sounds really cool.
That's trippy.
That's gonna be
I'm
neat.
excited for the bar.
Yes, let's talk about that. Yeah,
I hope they do some cool stuff.